Navigate the gauntlet of uncertainty the world throws at your business with SAP. Whether it's a tropical storm hitting your warehouse or a short supply of those little plastic twist ties, SAP can help you tackle those unexpected crushing setbacks with its AI-powered capabilities. To pivot to new suppliers, automate paperwork, and source the twist ties you need at the price you want, so your business can stay unstoppable. Learn more at sap.com/uncertainty.
News team, assemble!
It's back and bigger than ever. It's the Unofficial 40 from Soonerscoop.com. Now, here's the entire Sooner Scoop crew. Carrie, Josh, Eddie, and
George.
All right, welcome back. It is the Unofficial 40 right here on Soonerscoop.com podcast, where we got the entire crew back and at it. What a day yesterday. Probably one of the biggest sports days in the history of Oklahoma sports, because we thought the Mike Gundy firing was going to be the big news, and then all of a sudden we got wind of the John Mateer. And I guess we should clear this up first, because Josh had said this and George had said this in our little war room we have, is we'd heard some whispers about the John Mateer thing, but not that we didn't take it seriously, but that we'd kind of checked and it didn't seem like it was going to be something that was serious. Of course, when you injure your hand, your thumb in the first quarter, and you finish off the game and you got better as the game went along, kind of leads you down the road to say, yeah, I think it was just a minor thing. But then yesterday, I'll kind of just lay it out. Eddie kind of got wind of some stuff that was seemingly more serious. And then George was checking in things, and I was checking in things, and eventually we found out, yes, this is a very serious deal. He's going to need surgery, could be out for multiple weeks. And so we're working on the story, and we publish it, and eventually OU, kind of right behind us, releases a statement. And we'd kind of gotten wind that they were going to release a statement. And guys, that's because I think it was smart that they did, because this was one of the biggest stories in college football so far this year. You have a guy that's a Heisman frontrunner. All of a sudden, he has surgery. He's going to miss time, and who knows how long. That OU did not say in their release any kind of a timetable. And Josh, we'll start with you, because you're in Houston, and we're here bunkered down trying to break this story. What was it like for you? Because we are actually getting ready to do the recruiting report when this happened, and so you just sat in here and heard us probably off in the distance, like not arguing with each other, but trying to piece this thing together.
Well, that's what's hilarious, and that was going to be my story. Absolutely, was I'm sitting here and I connect to the recruiting report. I'd had a
which is coming tomorrow, by the way.
It. Yeah, so and I'm kind of like, okay, and then Eddie says something along the lines of, "Hey, Josh, we got to confirm, like we're working on something, or we got to confirm something," and then like kind of walks away from the mic, and I can hear you guys in the control room talking, but I can't hear everything. Like I can hear pieces, and I hear something about he's hurt, or like clearly you're talking about an injury, and immediately my thought, and you mentioned it, we were just talking about this in the warm room before we got started, was, oh God, somebody tipped me on this, and I didn't take it seriously enough. Like I just kind of overlooked it, and so I'm immediately like, oh shit. Like I run through the whole thing, and then I hear you guys say his name. I'm like, oh God, like I really did. I screwed this up. But what would you say? Like probably from the minute we sat down to just about report that, and then eventually, Eddie had gotten some information that you guys were like, okay, we gotta stop what we're doing and look at this seriously. From that to the story being out was 30 minutes, maybe. Yeah. Like it was not long.
I think George and I think kind of were on the same level, because we talked about it on Sunday, even because we talked about it, I think Saturday night when we were walking home from the stadium. But I think as it turned into, obviously Monday afternoon, and then Tuesday, it got to the point we heard from some people that, this is probably a pretty serious matter.
Well, and I think that the initial, because when we first found out, it was portrayed to us as like, yeah, he got a little dinged up, but shouldn't be anything that he can't, possibly play through. Like he's not going to miss any time, like no big deal. And so we were like, okay, well, just something to keep in mind, and then it kind of just escalated yesterday, and to the point where it's like, I think probably what happened was the pain wasn't going away. I'm sure he got, more opinions on it, better x-rays, the swelling maybe didn't go down. I'm not sure, but I think that it just ultimately came to the conclusion of this is the best thing that he could do for him is having surgery and missing some time to get back to being right. What that surgery entails, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not a doctor.
I feel like we've all read about the metacarpals and that's everything that goes into it.
Don't read the internet, because it's like you read the internet and it sounds like he needs to amputate his hand or something.
The things that we do know, it was a base fracture in the first metacarpal. So if that means something to somebody, I'm sure it does. I think the next step, though, is obviously he's in surgery, or was in surgery, probably out by now as we record this, that it's all about getting him back onto the field and when the reality of that is going to happen.
Well, and I think a lot of people, it is, and I know you can talk about this more, George. You were on the SEC teleconference call. Teleconference. Why did I say teleconference? That was weird. Telemundo. You were on the call, and it did seem like, Brent did not really want a lot to do with talking about that kind of stuff. But
yeah.
It's one of those deals I think people second guess just naturally, like, well, why did he keep playing? Or if he could play the whole game, why does he need surgery? Why can't he play through it? And I think that the one thing to say is doctors met with John Mateer and his family and advised him, like, this is what we think you should do for your long-term and your short-term benefit. And the goal here, it's simply to get him back as fast as they can, as healthy as they can. And they decided that surgery was the best route to do this. So, and this is, we're talking about world-renowned specialists here.
Yeah.
We're not talking about
Dr. Stephen Chin.
Yeah, we're not.
If you haven't watched a Dr. Stephen Chin YouTube video yet, you're not dedicated to the cause.
Correct.
Well, and he's kind of like the Josh when we were growing up, who was the guy in Alabama, the
Dr. Andrews.
Dr. Andrews, yeah.
James Andrews.
So he's kind of, become known as like a hand specialist, and he does other things too, but just sports medicine in general. But he's a guy that Drew Brees has gone to, that Jared Goff has gone to.
Steph Curry,
Mike Trout.
Yeah, I mean.
A whole host of people that make millions and millions of dollars.
Well, and you think about it, like, it makes sense in the day in NIL where if you're making a whole bunch of money like John Mateer is, you want to have the best operate on you, and now you have that opportunity.
How does that work? I was wondering about that last night. Like when he says you could do this locally or you could go to this renowned...
I think he's out of his health network, so he probably has to pay quite a bit more than you would if you went to like OU Medical or McBride or wherever.
I was thinking about that last night. But
we do know
how expensive is this?
We do know Randall Stevenson is the one that got him to LA on his private jet. So shout out Randall Stevenson.
Power move.
I just love the conversation of like John, like somebody setting that up for John and be like, are you in network? Like having to go through that like conversation.
I'm sorry, but Cigna is only going to cover 10% of this.
So good. Well, not so good, but it's just
I do think
crazy.
Though that like, and we can get into all of the, when we think he might be back, but it does feel like obviously this is a terrible situation. It's not good for Oklahoma, but if this were to happen, I guess this is the ideal place for this to happen in terms of in the season.
We're going to get back to this. We want to tell you guys about our great sponsors here on the Unofficial 40. One being Cody Drug RX. And look, if you're looking for more energy, better focus, just want to stay ahead of the game, check out NAD Plus injections from Cody Drug. It's the next big thing. Tons of Hollywood celebrities are doing it, talking about it all over social media. And unlike John Mateer, you don't have to go to L.A. To get your NAD Plus injections. Just check out CodyDrugRx.com. Give them a call. Go to their website, CodyDrugRx.com. Book a short telehealth visit, and your NAD Plus injection or nasal spray ships out the very next business day. Cody Drug custom compounds everything in their state-of-the-art sterile lab, including specialized medications for men's health, weight loss, anti-aging, and more. And they love working with Oklahoma med spas and clinics. So if you're in healthcare, they're ready ready to team up. Also, go to Cody Drug RX on Instagram. Check out a lot of the great information that our guy Will Douglas has. By the way, Will told me he is a South end zoner, and he would like me to continue being critical of the South end zone versus the North end zone. He feels like there's too many people that just sit down on their hands. Anyway, he's a big OU fan, a great supporter of the Unofficial 40. CodyDrugRx.com. Feel better, faster, without the stadium steps.
I feel like that's the difference between like a country club, though, and going to
they're
like
paying
a house
more.
party.
Yeah, they're paying more to
You're
sit
going
in
to
the
a
South
house
end
party
zone.
over in the North end zone. It was very loud down there in the fourth
That was
quarter.
great. Yeah.
You could also see all of it, too. Let me tell you about my good friends over at Enjoy Vision. Football is upon us, and that means it's the perfect time to dial your vision before you miss any of the Sooner magic. That SEC schedule, certainly not easy, but thankfully LASIK at Enjoy Vision is. You can schedule a free consultation today at enjoyvision.com, the letter NJOY vision.com. Football season is why you LASIK. Enjoy Vision is where you LASIK.
All right, I said OU did not include a timetable on John Mateer's return. I think probably they don't want to put too much pressure on him. I know, George, I think, or Eddie, one of you two talked to somebody that said that Mateer, before he left for L.A., was going around in the facility and basically charging his teammates up, saying that he was going to be back by Texas, which that's I don't want to say all well and good, but that's who John Mateer is. I mean, he is a fiery guy. He believes in himself, and why wouldn't he do so for the healing power of his body as well?
Yeah, and I don't know if that's even possible for him to come back for Texas. Like, I don't want to say like it's impossible. I just am starting to lean towards it's much more likely that he's back for the South Carolina or even the Ole Miss game. Like, it's just like the timetable, everything we've heard is 3 to 4 weeks, around a month's time.
I'm telling myself right now, think Ole Miss, October 25th.
Anything before that
if he came back before that, it would feel like an incredible experience. I did tell George, though, and you guys are going to have to call me out on this, because the week of OU Texas, I think I will talk myself into thinking, regardless of what happens.
Oh my God!
Into thinking that he's gonna Willis Reed himself down the tunnel,
the circus that's
throw
going
for
to happen
400
that
yards, and it's going to be one of the greatest OU stories of all time.
I'm beating you in that race, Eddie. I am right there right now. I'm convinced he's going to play in Texas. Like, I just have it in my brain.
I will say seriously.
Can we see Michael Hawkins play against? I know the Kent State's not any good, but can we see him play first?
We can see him play, and it's not about Michael Hawkins. I just think that Oklahoma's much better if they have John Mateer. I would say, too, though, that like just from people that I talked to yesterday that have been pretty good on this, I think that Ole Miss, realistically, is probably where you're looking at. This is a 4-week recovery from what I've been told.
Here's a hot
take. He'd be able to play that 5th week.
Ole Miss might be the best team of those three in that SEC gauntlet.
No, Texas is.
Texas has the best defense for sure.
Texas would beat the brakes off Ole Miss.
Ooh,
I don't know if Texas
about that.
is capable of beating the brakes off of anybody.
Yeah,
and that's another thing.
Texas
And we'll
can't
talk
run away from anybody.
We're going to talk about this for 2 weeks, but the Texas
We're
thing.
starting now. Damn it!
I'm already not scared, but I just have this vision that they're gonna start turning the corner. And I say that I wouldn't be surprised if they got beat by Florida. So I have no idea. It's not a bad thought though, Kerry. I mean, South Carolina is certainly not what we thought that they were going to be.
I would say South Carolina is the most winnable of those 3 games. And then I think Ole Miss and Texas are very close. I think they can win Texas with Michael Hawkins.
Josh,
I wouldn't pick it, but I do think they can win.
We did those. George and I have sent you the power ranking stuff. It's really, really tough once you get by, I don't know, like 3 for me in the SEC. Like, I thought 4 through 16 was really, really tough to put together.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And for those wondering what we're talking about, we'll have a story out where George, Eddie, and I kind of ranked where we see the SEC, and we'll do it weekly, just kind of update it. Hope to have that out this afternoon. It is, again, like, guys, I don't think there's a dominant team in the SEC. I think there's about 8 teams that, given the right week and the right circumstances, could beat each other pretty consistently. Like, I think there are teams that have an edge. I think Oklahoma's kind of one of those teams with their defense. Like, they have a unit that is so dominant that they're going to be in every game. Like, and that's the thing. Like, even with this situation with Texas, if Oklahoma can play a really smart game, not turn the ball over, maybe create a turnover or so for themselves, like there are margins where they can win that game. It's just, and I think that's what George, you know, I don't want to speak for George, but like that's where I would see that game, even with Michael Hawkins, is your margin for error is just much smaller than it used to be. With John Mateer, you kind of believe like, okay, he's going to pick up some slack. And that's not a shot at Michael Hawkins, but there's a reason they picked John Mateer as their starter. Like, I mean, they have a different level of expectation. I think that's just reasonable to expect, to think, I guess.
And this is one of those things too, and I get it. Like, a lot of fans are going to have PTSD. They don't want to see Michael Hawkins out there on the field in the Cotton Bowl again because it was so terrible last year. But we haven't seen a lot of Michael Hawkins. We saw him in Temple. He had 3 pass attempts. He tried to throw 2 long bombs that were not close to being completions. But think about right now, knock on wood, the receiver group that he has compared to what he was, they were throwing out there last year.
Receiver group, offensive line,
George, like,
play caller.
I'm halfway into the idea of everything that happened last year with Michael Hawkins, you can just take with a grain of salt. Like, it was such a disaster from the get-go of him taking over. From like an offensive game plan, Kerry.
He didn't have anybody even close to an Isaiah Satania that he was playing with. I mean, his big pass play to Auburn was to J.J. Hester last year.
I mean, I think that if you're going to use a game from last year as a better example, use the Armed Forces Bowl. That at least had been, and even though Ben Arbuckle wasn't calling the plays, he was a part of that game planning. And not to say that he had a big voice in that, but he probably played a little bit better than I remember him.
Had he been in town for not even 2 weeks before that game?
Yeah, maybe less, because I think he came and talked to us, and that was during the bull practice.
Right, but Arbuckle didn't have any, he wasn't calling plays or anything.
But he at least had an idea of a little bit better of what Michael Hawkins
he had been out at practice.
I think that
28 of 43, 247, 2 touchdowns. Not terrible. He missed some guys in that Navy game.
But I think that the thing with Hawkins is that you have to feel a little bit better is this is a totally different situation than a year ago. Like, you have a better
100%.
Offensive line, you have better playmakers around you, and the biggest thing is you do have a play caller that you can trust to build a game plan around him that he's comfortable in, and you also don't have to do it as quick as they did last year. We forget that last year it was the exact same time, but at that point they threw him into the middle of the Tennessee game, which was already a disaster. Then he had to turn around in 7 days and go to Auburn and win a football game, and then the next week he goes to the Cotton Bowl. There was no bye week. There was no Kent State warm-up game. Like, he at least has some time, and Ben Arbuckle has some time to build this thing around him.
I also think that there's just a little bit of it's the same kind of situation where he's having to step in for somebody, but I think it's a little bit different too than being thrown in and still having the other quarterback on the sidelines, as opposed to, I'm the guy, I got to go do this.
As a scientist, I can tell you that Sundays are only 24 hours long. But with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get every game every Sunday all in one place. That's upwards of 30 hours of NFL in one day. How can there be 30 hours in 24 hours, you ask? I have a theory. Magic. New users get NFL Sunday Ticket for 8 payments of $34.50 per month. Sign up at NFLSundayTicket.com. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games and commercial use. Terms and embargoes apply. Availability varies.
Well, and it is a bye week. So, I mean, you have a week where you can really practice, and we'll talk to Brent. We're scheduled to talk to Brent tomorrow. But we can talk about, him getting more reps and what that means and what it looks like. We'll talk to Ben Arbuckle next week, before they play Kent State. And Ben Arbuckle has been pretty effusive in his praise that Michael Hawkins is a guy that he really likes, even going back to post-spring. So, we'll see. I mean, there's something that he likes about Michael Hawkins. It's not going to be the same type of game plan. I mean, he's going to have things that he likes. I think, Kuzieski now gets to, like, we were out of practice, and I'm sure Kuzieski is going to be in Michael Hawkins' hip the entire time, like he always was with John Mateer. So getting those reps, getting those coaches, we don't know what it's going to do and how much better he can be as a quarterback in this offense. But
none of it matters, like, from a quarterback standpoint, though, if they don't take some steps over the next couple of weeks to be able to run the football.
Yeah,
like that stat from Max Olson. I don't know if you guys saw it yesterday.
I saw it before we did the show.
71 rushing yards from the running back group per game It's 47th out of 48 in the Power 4 teams that are in the Power 4.
It's not good.
It's terrible.
Well, and I think we know, Torrey Blaylock is he's going to be a special back, but between the tackles against like an Auburn, there's no room. And this offensive line has done a very good job pass blocking. But you had two guys with bad ankles in that game, and I don't know how much a difference that would have made if they were totally healthy. But at the same time, you need to get an Xavier Robinson going. You need Jaydn Ott to come on. And we still keep hearing that buzz, within the team that Jaydn Ott is coming. And even, outside the team, the people that are around the program, it's obvious that, DeMarco Murray is his position coach, and he probably looks at it a little bit differently. But this bye week could be huge for Jaydn Ott. Kent State could be huge for Jaydn Ott. And if, I'm not saying it's Jaydn Ott or bust for this run game, because all those guys should be able to pick up some yards. It's got to be on Bill Bedenbaugh and the offensive line too. But this is, we talked about it. It's basically 2 bye weeks to get right before Texas. And you're right, Eddie. The running game has to be as big, if not bigger, focus than Michael Hawkins.
They basically have, I guess, how many days would it be?
It's like 17.
Well, until next week.
Oh.
10, something like that. There's 10 more days left of me talking about Jaydn Ott, thinking that he's going to be a contributor to this offense. If it doesn't happen against Kent State, I think I'm going to be done talking about it.
Yeah, I think.
And there's only so much, but when you talk to people within the program, they still continue to say this guy's going to have some type of presence within the offense. And I'm the same way with some of the people on the message boards that are talking about it. Like, I'm just as confused as they are, as you are out there, about what is happening with Jaydn Ott right now. It doesn't make any sense other than the things that we've speculated about over the last 4 weeks since the season began.
Yes. Look, let's see Kent State. Let's see what it looks like. I think it is best to just put John Mateer out of your mind, although we all know when Texas week gets here, the biggest question is going to be, is John Mateer going to play in this thing?
And then if he doesn't, it'll be the same thing
for
all over again in South Carolina.
Right.
Can he play? And I honestly don't know.
And here's the thing, too. Like, they don't have to beat Texas, but they have to play a close game. They have to play a game where they have a chance to win it in the fourth quarter.
They can't get blown out again.
No.
And that's us said. I think the fan base would say that they have to beat Texas.
But I'm saying for college football playoff chances, they don't have to beat them.
I think like the big conversation about this, if it with the back end of the schedule in mind, if you can just somehow find a way, you basically are going to have to play 2 games if it is through South Carolina, and say he doesn't come back to Ole Miss, you're going to have 2 SEC games that you're going to have to find a way to go 1-1 to keep every goal that you have intact.
I agree completely, Eddie. You just can't go 0-2. You can't lose both of those games. And, again, the good news is kind of like a couple of SEC teams, like, and I'm sure you guys noticed it when you're doing the rankings, like there are teams that in the preseason I thought I knew what they were going to be, and I feel very differently about them now. South Carolina is one of those teams. I thought South Carolina might turn into like a sneaky playoff team, and I think they might be lower half of the SEC right now. Like, I think that has changed a lot. And Lenora Sellers is the kind of player you've got to be scared of just because of how dangerous he can be. But with Oklahoma's defense, there's just unless you are a guy who can really can move and then at the same time can really sit back there and pick a defense apart, you got to be pretty special for me to feel like you're going to get one over on this defense. Like, I just don't see it right now.
There is like a sense that I think everybody kind of took the Mateer news basically somewhat in stride, but you do fall back on this idea that this is a defense that is going to keep you in a lot of games if you don't turn the ball over, if you don't just look completely lost on that side of the football, which, again, it gets back to being able to run the ball and take care of it.
I do have a question.
Guys, sorry, Kerry.
No, go ahead.
If you're going into Kent State, like, how run heavy are you? Like, I'm looking at that Florida State stat line.
Yeah.
I'm like, run it 55 times. Run it as many times as you need to develop some kind of rhythm. Figure out what you like.
I think it's very important to kind of lean on that running back room. But then again, like, you would think when you play Texas or if he has to play against South Carolina, you're going to want Michael Hawkins' legs a part of that. But you are definitely going to be kind of walking a tightrope just in that. I mean, the worst situation would be to run him against Kent State and then all of a sudden he gets hurt. Then you're really up a shit creek. So they're going to have to kind of balance this out, especially against Kent State, of how much do you actually want to play Hawkins versus I completely understand the other side of it too, of get him as many snaps as possible.
Oh, I'm talking straight run, like Xavier Robinson, Jaydn Ott. Like, I want the backs to get carries.
I want 45 carries.
And figure out, like, because again, like, people are just like, oh, just make it better. Okay, Jaydn Ott likes this. Xavier Robinson likes this. We block this well. Like, figure out that stuff against the team that you know you're physically better than and that you should be able to just lean on over the course of 4 quarters.
And you should have everybody from, like, just a health standpoint up front, whether it be Michaela or Fabechi or Fasusi to an extent. They should be in, I would say, a couple weeks. You should be back somewhat good to go. I mean, that would be, 4 weeks basically from when those guys got injured against Michigan.
Yeah, and who knows? I mean, is this game something where Eddie Pierre-Louis can get some momentum and other guys like that down the roster that aren't seeing as many reps? It's one of those things. I think you're going to come out of that Kent State game saying, okay, this team's got a chance to build on something, or holy shit, they're not going to be able to run the ball against anybody.
And I say that, like, I think kind of the same way that you guys do in terms of the Texas game. I know we were talking about it in the War Room earlier. I think both teams are going to have some troubles running the football. Like, we might be looking at a Cotton Bowl that is a very low-scoring game, which makes everything else even more important as far as special teams and all that kind of stuff.
What's the over-under right now?
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. It opened at 57.5, but I'm sure that's come down. I haven't really been able to find,
bet it's like
I think everything Oklahoma's off the board right now.
I could see that too.
Yeah.
By the way, I am very excited to have Harry's as part of a podcast. I know George has mentioned this. I've used Harry's forever. I was actually looking this morning. I have 4 Harry's razors just sitting around because they sent us a new package. So I have a new one. But I've used them forever. It kind of was one of those things where, like, my mom would get me, like, special razor packages for Christmas, and then you'd run out of the blades, and you'd go to the store, and you're like, Jesus Christ, it's like $50 for 4 blades. And Harry's got me out of that, blade trap. But, yeah, I mean, look, they have great products. They do exactly what they're supposed to do, and they've even added to it. But, we all know that everything costs too much. When it comes to razors, the 4-pack of refills for $20. But yeah, when I started, it felt just like everything else that I was using, name brand. Their blades are honed at 3 different angles to cut your hair cleanly at the root without tugging. They're also optimized to glide smoothly and avoid clogging. And even their shaving cream is great. Their face care stuff that they've been coming out with. I know George has been using the. What do they call that? The anti-shine stick?
Yeah, anti-shine stick. It's awesome.
And I'm one of those guys that I showered this morning, but if you take a day off, you get all greasy and stuff in the forehead for me specifically. So anyway, you guys, we want our listeners to take advantage of a great Harry's trial set for only $8 plus a free gift at harrys.com/Soonerscoop. Just head over to harrys.com, harrys.com/Soonerscoop to receive your exclusive discount. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. So please support our show. Tell them that you heard about them on Sooner Scoop, and help us support the podcast and help us keep Harry's a sponsor, because George and I, and specifically, I know Eddie does too, likes their stuff. And I don't know about you, Josh. You don't shave a whole lot, but I don't know where you go when you do.
No, when I heard Harry's was going to advertise with us, I don't. The only thing I don't know is if they sell, like, because I use like a razor, and I just buy like the straight razor that goes.
Oh God!
Like, you attach, you take off. Like, I can't think of what.
Like a Michael Irvin razor. Like the actual razor that you would shave a head with.
Basically, yeah, like
he's got that like leather strap that he just goes back and forth.
That's what I'm thinking.
So he puts on his spurs and leaves the house every day.
But if Harry sells that, I would be glad to take it off their hands because I actually need a new batch of them. So I need to actually look into
Josh,
that.
what you should say is, I'm switching to Harry's. That's all you had to say.
I mean, I don't want to lie to the people. I want them to know when you guys advocate for
This is going
Harry's,
very
you
poorly.
really do use this stuff.
We have to stop letting Josh be involved in ad reads.
Can't do it anymore.
No. All right.
Unbelievable.
Anyway, moving on to what we're looking at football. Look, guys, Javonnie Gibson, I mean, I know he was asked about him today, and that didn't seem to go well either, or it was just confusing.
Oh, no, he
was
just
good on
answered that. Yeah.
He just was very just didn't
short,
want to be there today.
A little combative with a few questions from people, but no, he did say Eli Bowen and Javonnie Gibson basically that they're expected to play next week against Kent State and that they've been practicing. So that's great news.
Yes, and that only makes this team better. And I think coming out of the Auburn game, like you guys have talked about it a little bit, I don't put anything on Cortland Guillory and say, oh, well, he's not the guy that we thought he was. He was facing an amazing receiver, and he held his own at times. But Cam Coleman's he had 3 catches in that game. I mean, he's going to have games where he has 8 catches for 150 yards. I mean, what do you have, 88 yards on those 3 catches?
Especially now with the injury to the Horatio, what's his last name?
Fields.
Broke his foot at practice yesterday at Auburn, as announced by...
He was number 5?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was that right?
Correct.
5?
Yep. I do wonder, though, about Javonnie, just real quick. It just like...
we have time to kill. You can make it long.
Excited. I'm excited to see him play, but it is kind of a bummer that it's not with Mateer. Not that Michael Hawkins can't, build a chemistry with him, but everything we had heard back in the spring was that Javonnie was Mateer's guy. Like, that was who
he
and
was.
Burks
were meeting up with him.
Yeah, they were doing a lot of stuff
and
extra. Like, I think they had built up a really good rapport and chemistry. So that part's a bummer. I'm sure Javonnie's like, really? As soon as I'm getting back, that starting quarterback gets hurt. But I am excited to see him get out there and just see what he can do and maybe help this offense. Because as much as I really like Deion Burks and Isaiah Satania, Keontae Lewis, I think they've been good players. I think Javonnie gives them something totally different that this offense hasn't had.
Yeah, and if you're up close to Javonnie Gibson, it's
huge.
Just ridiculous. I mean,
the photo of you that you took of him on the sideline,
just on the field after the game,
his biceps. It's just like, oh.
Well, he had plenty of time to work on the biceps while the leg was recovering, and he took advantage of a lot of bell work, dumbbell, barbell, whatever. So, yeah, I'm excited to see him. And we got to see flashes of him. I mean, we know kind of what he's about. Of course, we could say the same thing about Jaydn Ott. We thought we knew what he was about when we saw him, but certainly, I mean, he looks the part. Josh, his body, it reminds me, there have been very few OU receivers over the years. I mean, of course, Dorial Green Beckham, nobody ever got to see him. He's a beast on his own. But he kind of reminds me of, going back in the day, not Brandon Jackson. Who am I thinking of? There was the baseball player
Brandon
Jones. Kind of
Brandon
that
Jones
body type.
was a freak.
Also, a little bit like who was the kid that was the JUCO transfer on the 2014 team that beat Alabama?
LaColton Bester?
LaColton Bester. Yeah, that body type. Just a big, thick dude.
How tall was LaColton Bester?
Oh, he had to be 6'4".
Let me present a scenario. Somebody on the board, I forget who, so I apologize, whoever it was. They asked a great
6'3".
question. LaColton Bester, 6'3".
6'3", 195. I do not remember him being that big.
He was a big dude.
Somebody asked this on the board. A great question. Is it more likely that Jaydn Ott has a Rodney Anderson type of season where he came on, I think it was the Texas game that year, and was just fantastic the rest of the year for Oklahoma, or Javonnie Gibson has a Hollywood Brown type of season where he didn't really show up until about the Texas game and ends up being Oklahoma's leading wide receiver?
It's a great question. I would probably, and this is because I want to believe it, I'd go Ott just because I don't know. Like, he's done it at least at somewhat of a Division I level. I don't think either answer is wrong.
Right. And I was looking at the stats. Javonnie would have some ground to make up because Satania, Burks, and Lewis all are over 200 yards receiving. Cannon is their leading receiver, over 300 yards. So he would have to make up quite a bit of ground. But I also think it's doable.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about an Arkansas, Monticello, and Pine Bluff product. So
the thing,
I think the reality is neither one of them is probably going to end up doing that.
The thing about the Hollywood too is he just had such elite speed that I think he got 2 or 3 of those games in that stretch were like over 200 yards because he had like 3 or 4.
I think it was Kansas State and Oklahoma State.
He had like 3 or 4, just massive 75-yard bombs from Baker.
And I don't think Javonnie's not that type of. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he is. I don't think he's a speed guy. He's more of a. He's going to go up and
if you could just add
catch.
Both of them and get like just a little from each, though, I think maybe the sum of the product would be more than what each of those guys gave.
By the way, Josh, was this only an internal office discussion, or did you get in on the Dwayne Orso Backus stuff that's out there? And did you see that on the board?
I did not.
I
saw it on the board. Yeah.
Dwayne Orso Backus is at Javonnie Gibson's old stomping ground, Arkansas Monticello, playing as a 35-year-old defensive lineman.
Wow. Now that I don't think. Yes. No, I did see this, and I don't. So when did he graduate? Was he?
I mean, he was on that 2014 team. I think he was a sophomore then.
Wow.
Or that, yeah.
Well, I mean,
that 2013 team.
Dreams, kids.
Yeah. I don't know if he went into the military or what happened.
I still don't know how that's possible. Like how he's playing college football.
Well, because it's D3. Or is it D2?
Well, and it's if he had eligibility, like technically.
Yeah, your clock doesn't. Somebody explain this to me. Your clock is different. Like your clock only sets in Division I. So once you start, you have 5 years to play for.
I don't think there's technically a limit on the age. It's the limit on like how many years you were in college.
Well, yeah, there's that 55-year-old guy that's playing at some D3 school somewhere,
which is badass.
Like he didn't finish high school, or he finished high school and he went into the military, never went to college.
I mean, he was in the 2014. He redshirted in 2014, so he would have been part of the 2014 signing class, right?
I believe so.
That's insane.
Is he balling out, though, for
I don't think he's playing.
It's 11 years after.
I don't think he's playing.
Wouldn't it be awesome enough if he was just like dominating?
That's almost as badass as the
it's the
LSU,
I am 12 situation.
The LSU band member. Have you guys seen that guy?
Yes,
no.
Yeah.
He's like 60. He's
70,
in the band.
he's
like
Really?
70,
He's like 70. He went back to school, got into the band, tried out, like went through the whole process. It's kind of badass.
Did he just learn to play, or has he always been playing?
The way that the video kind of showed, I think he might have played at one point.
Okay.
Like I think he knew his way around a tuba.
Wow.
I hope he travels with LSU.
It is that Auburn band over there in the corner that I know you're down there all the time.
It was great to have a band.
But it is strange because, when you're sitting in the end zone, you have dueling bands.
Yeah, well, and it's different too. It's like still kind of getting used to it because that's an SEC thing with the band being closer to the field.
Because they used to be up like over on the south corner,
and
south end zone corner.
Even back in the day, they'd put them up in like the south end zone or up in that like southeast corner.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just kind of weird.
The bleachers.
I was very disappointed when the Michigan didn't bring their band. So it was cool. I think it's a conference thing. You got to bring a band, but it was cool.
Yeah, you got to bring a band and cheerleaders or something like that.
I think that is a rule.
Dwayne Orso, Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure we gave a shout out. That was a Jerry Montgomery guy, the legend of Jerry Montgomery and his recruiting. Dwayne Orso, Kenyon Fryson.
Wow.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Psst, healthcare pros. Word's out, and it's too good to keep quiet. Look, LinkedIn is revolutionizing job hunting, making it possible to search by specialty, shift preference, and salary. Endless scrolling is out. Whether it's a mental health therapist or dental hygienist, finding the perfect role is faster and easier than ever. Head to linkedin.com/healthcare and start your search today.
That's some names.
Yeah, who I thought was going to be an absolute monster, and he just could not keep himself out of trouble, I don't think.
Do you know where Jerry Montgomery is now?
Last I knew he was with the Packers.
Yeah.
No. Mm-hmm. No. I was watching the game first week of the NFL season. They went to the sideline. He is the defensive line coach for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Wow.
Kind of crazy.
Well, it was always so surprising to me that he ended up in the NFL because, like, again, like you can talk. Another one of his guys that he really, really wanted was Ricky DeBerry. Like that was a big win, kind of that he kind of stood on the table for. And obviously, Ricky didn't do anything at Oklahoma. But like whatever else you could say, he could recruit. Like he could go get guys. He absolutely could. It surprised me when he ended up in the NFL because I thought, well, he's a recruiter. Like that's what he needs to be doing is recruiting guys. And he never really he came back to A&M for like a month or two there. There was that like right when I think they hired Jimbo, if I remember right, and almost immediately something went terribly wrong and he left, and he's never been back to college since.
Yeah,
he's been on a journey because he went to the Packers. He was with the Packers from 2015 to 2023. Then he went to the Patriots last season as the defensive line coach. And now he's with the Bengals. Kind of crazy.
So, yeah, there's our Dwayne Orso
His son
Backus
should be, like, getting recruited by now. He was a big football player when he was up at Green Bay. Jerry Montgomery's kid.
Mm-hmm.
It was less than a month. He was hired in January 2018 at A&M and had left by late January 2018 to go back to the Packers.
Probably looked around and was like, God, these people.
All right, let me ask you guys a question. From what you've seen so far, how much is Ben Arbuckle a serious head coaching candidate anywhere?
This year?
Yes.
I still think he's a year away. I think that, that doesn't mean he's not going to get calls. Like, I think it's one of those situations where he maybe interviews or is a candidate at a few places this year, and then it actually gets a job in a year. I don't know if he's ready yet. I also think
it depends on what kind of job he wants to.
Yeah, and I also OU's offense has been good through 4 games, but let's not act like it's been some amazing unit either. Like it's had its flaws. I also think him at media and stuff, he's good. I like talking to him. I also think he still has a ways to go in terms of being polished and being a voice, the voice in a locker room.
Yeah, he come to me. You see his youth sometimes, and
yeah.
Look, I think it's good for him and his career to have his own press conference every week. But you're right, you do see his youth, and not that he's not a serious person. I mean, my God, Eddie, down there on the field before games and pre-games, he's as intense as any assistant coach and really offensive coordinator I've ever seen. But it's almost like he still thinks he's playing. Like he's the guy and he is in a sense. I mean, he's directing all his guys. So I think he has a fire that I love that I haven't seen from a lot of people, even, a Lincoln Riley. And I know Bill Bedenbaugh back, in fall camp compared him to Lincoln, and that raised a lot of eyebrows. But yeah, I do think he needs some seasoning still. I don't see him, and who knows if he would want the Oklahoma State job or not. That doesn't seem to be a very good job in terms of leadership right now, knowing exactly who's making the calls and day to day Mike Gundy obviously had no idea what his standing was with the university to do a press conference one day, get fired the next.
Crazy.
So, I don't know that he is ready yet. I mean, Lincoln Riley was at ECU for 3 years? 4 years before he became Oklahoma's offensive coordinator?
I don't remember.
Because he went with Ruffin McNeil after the Leach firing.
My first instinct is 3 as well, Josh.
I'm looking. No,
yeah, he was there for 5.
Because, I'm sorry, the 14. I missed the that's separated on the list I'm looking at. That's a lot. Because he had that quarterback, the kid he signed from Episcopal that was such a good player for East Carolina.
And he was 2 years at Washington State, offensive coordinator?
Yeah. I do think, though, that nowadays things are accelerated a little bit, and probably because of somebody like a Kenny Dillingham that's had immediate success, that if you can get into the right spot, have enough NIL booster help, you can find immediate success, maybe more so. Or maybe I'm trying to say it feels like schools are more willing to take a chance on that young, up-and-coming recruiter.
When you're in a situation, you just have to be the coach, like you said.
Sure.
If they have the stuff around them.
Sure.
If they have the right front office. And
I just don't think, and I don't know, we'll see what jobs come available. I'm not sure the right job is going to be, he might get offered for a group of 5 head coaching job. Yeah.
That falls back on the idea that we've always talked about, though, is Oklahoma offensive coordinator better than the head coaching job at, just throw it out a name, Western Kentucky? I think it probably is.
Yeah, and that's where I'm like, I just don't see him jumping just yet. And like the Oklahoma State job, I just don't think he would take that. Maybe I'm wrong.
I would go a step further and say I don't know if that's a serious candidate.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Same with
just from the people I've talked to.
UCLA, I don't buy it. Like now, if Arkansas called him, I think that would be interesting. I don't know. I also don't think Arkansas would call Ben Arbuckle.
I think that it also comes with an addendum too, that like if that were to happen and he became a serious player at an Arkansas, say, I think that means that Michael Hawkins was really, really good and they had no drop off, which would be good news.
It's just so different because every school is going to be such a different job. It's no longer about, have you had success in the past? It's about, are you built to have success in the future? Do you have an athletic director with vision? Like Oklahoma State right now, I mean, it sounds like Chad Weiberg's going to get a new contract, but he was just floating in the wind there for a while. I mean, like,
just totally bizarre. It's the way that everything's been handled.
I just think Oklahoma State, like, they got to hire like a G.J. Kinney, to me, would be the best that they're going to do.
Guys, that's an interesting question. What is if you're just looking at it, which job would you rather have, Arkansas or Oklahoma State? Now, I know what people are going to immediately jump to, but I think it's different if you really look at it.
I think that there's more buddy than we probably lend credit to in Stillwater. I might take Oklahoma State because I think it's an easier path to go win.
Yeah.
I agreed. I think you can win there. I don't know if you can win at Arkansas. I just don't know.
I mean, the list of names, I think it kind of begins and ends for a lot of Oklahoma State fans. Then I do think it's a realistic option. Zach Robinson, Atlanta offense coordinator that I think got demoted over the course of the week. I think he's now on the sidelines for them. But I don't think that, like, Trey Lamb's not going to be at Tulsa very long. If he can just get them to win a couple more games this year, maybe not this year, but I think Trey Lamb's going to go at some point to a bigger job.
You know what I think would be an interesting job, and I don't know if it'll come open, but if Rhett Lashley were to leave SMU and take a different job or take a bigger job, I wonder if SMU would call Ben Arbuckle.
Be kind of a like-for-like idea. Yeah. That makes some sense, and him obviously having Texas roots. That would be... Again, though, when I talk to people around SMU, they think that's a pretty damn good job. They think that's a better job than people realize.
You're in the ACC now. You have all that money.
I just threaten to leave every year if I'm Rhett Lashley because they're just going to keep ponying up money.
Probably. No pun intended or pun intended.
I thought you were going for it. I kind of respected it.
So anyway, there's a little aside.
I just don't think. I think he'll be here another year.
Yeah,
and then he'll probably leave.
The one that's interesting to me, and it's kind of a domino effect, John Summerall at Tulane, he's going to get one of these SEC jobs. I'd about bet money on him. He's just doing too well, and he's really good. What if Tulane opened? There's money there. It's a G5 that you can win at. You go have 2 or 3 good years, and you're kind of where Rhett Lashley was a couple years ago before SMU got into the ACC and became a little more credible to stay long-term. Tulane actually has some NIL. They have a little bit of money. You're in New Orleans, so you've got a good recruiting base. That's one of those ones interesting. But to me, if you're Arbuckle and you're as good as I think we all think he is, if you sit around for a year or two, you might be the guy getting the SEC job.
Yeah, I think Tulane's the one G5 job that if he were to get offered, you have to consider it. Because I do think you can go win there. You could be there for a couple of years, get some head coaching experience, and then jump to a big school.
The real question, and we kind of entertained it in the office yesterday, Josh, Mike Gundy coach again?
I think he should. Especially, it seems like, he figured it out too late. But, guys, this is the stuff we always talk about. The coaches that can adapt are the ones that have success. People can talk about Nick Saban and he's great defensive mind. Nick Saban adapted. Every time something changed, he figured out a way to game it. And okay, fine, you guys going to do that? I'll do that. I'll be better at it than you are. That was the way he. Now, again, it helped that everybody on Alabama's campus was driving Dodge Chargers. I'm not saying Nick Saban didn't have some other advantages, but he's also was willing to adapt. And I think he finally got sick of adaptation with the NIL and the portal and all that stuff. And I like Gundy's comments. I was listening to Andy Staples and Ari's show this morning, or I guess it's from yesterday, and they're talking about Mike at Big 12 Media Days, talking about it wasn't until 18 months ago I realized this wasn't going to change. What on earth were you doing? Like it was like you were never putting that genie back in the bottle.
It's shocking to me, and I know that this isn't anything groundbreaking, but just the fall off that Oklahoma State's had, to watch it kind of somewhat up close, and obviously watch the games and everything like that. Just to watch that game Friday night and see how far Tulsa was ahead of them, it's shocking. To really kind of look at the guys even like on their offensive line. It just, I don't know how that happened overnight, but then again, I kind of do, because we've seen it firsthand with Oklahoma and just the spot that they were in with the offensive line over the last couple of years. It's just, it's wild to me. They were playing for a Big 12 championship, basically 3 years ago. And since then, I mean, they haven't beat an FBS opponent since they beat Tulsa last year. That was like in September. It's crazy.
All right, I want to get to something. We didn't do instant reaction on it because we had the situation with John Mateer yesterday, but the SEC future schedules were released last night. George was on top of that one. And I've got it in front of me now. And I think a lot of people thought, okay, well, they'll just play all the teams that they didn't play before, and they'll have the three. But Texas, Ole Miss, Missouri, those are your yearly permanent games until 4 years. But what did you guys think? Let's just start with the 26 schedule, if you guys want to pull it up. But obviously, you keep South Carolina, and that's it from the schedule that you've got outside of the permanent three.
More rewards, more savings. With American Express Business Gold, earn up to $395 back in annual statement credits on eligible purchases at select shipping, food delivery, and retail subscription merchants. Enjoy the benefits of membership with the Amex Business Gold Card. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
Oh, but Ole Miss is obviously one of the three. So
right, yeah. So you get Kentucky at home. You get Texas A&M at home. You go to Florida. You go to Georgia. And then you go to Mississippi State.
And Missouri.
Right. I was discounting those permanent three, I guess.
Yeah, Florida and Georgia.
I mean,
and Ann Arbor.
OU fans have a chance to go to the swamp, between the hedges and the swamp, or
the big house.
And the big house next year.
That's crazy.
That's an incredible schedule from a traveling standpoint.
And Ole Miss goes to Norman back-to-back years.
And it's an interesting schedule, too, because I think that there's a chance like 3 or 4 of those teams have new head coaches. Like Kentucky could have a new head coach.
Florida could have a new coach.
Will
one
have
of those
a new
might
head coach.
be a head coach that's currently at one of those schools that's at
Kiffin?
the other.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin could go to Florida.
Right,
Which
Ole Miss
would make
could have a
Ole
new
Miss
coach.
would totally weaken your annual rival with Ole Miss.
Well,
Which I think I don't know if you guys saw Lane Kiffin's comments this morning on
not.
Oklahoma being included. He basically just kind of shit on it, which is it's kind of funny. He said, I'm pulling it up, basically just completely shit on it. He, quote, "We don't have anything in common with them. That doesn't make any sense at all. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is." End quote. Which I think is funny coming from Lane Kiffin.
And he's not wrong.
No.
Ole Miss is a really random-ass choice.
Yeah, very random. But then, 27, you turn. What I do kind of like is like they're not just making this home and homes like year after year.
Yeah.
They break it up. And so then you have Texas, Ole Miss, Missouri. But then you play Alabama at home, Arkansas at home, Tennessee at home, that's kind of a makeup for going to Florida, Georgia back and forth. Then at Auburn, that should be fun. I don't think they'll forget in the next couple of years about the hidden play. At LSU and at Vanderbilt, which I know makes the Kings of Leon crowd very happy.
Yes, and also to note,
will Diego Pavia still be the quarterback in 2027?
Yeah.
I'm under the impression he plays football forever. College football.
He did tweet that this is his last year. They do get Missouri at home, and then they go to Ole Miss in 27. And just a weird scheduling quirk, in 28, they'll get Missouri at home again, and they'll go on the road to Ole Miss again, just because of the way that it worked out in terms of flipping the home and homes. And so that you're aware,
I'm showing on OU site at Missouri in 28.
Mine says the other way around. Maybe then it might be mine's wrong.
I show at Missouri, Missouri, at Missouri, Missouri.
Same.
There you go. Never mind.
I'm thinking I'm looking at the same thing.
Never mind. I was going to say, though, the 26 flips with 28.
Right.
And then 27 and 29
flips with 29.
flip.
Yeah.
Correct.
So Vanderbilt comes, LSU comes,
I missed
Auburn
that at
comes.
first blush. That's actually pretty cool that they're not just – it's not just 2-2-2 like forever.
I don't know about you guys, but I kind of like the idea of going back to Texas A&M every once in a while. I know it's a weird place and the women in overalls and all that stuff.
Women in overalls.
Oh, yeah, they're all over the place.
It's an awesome college atmosphere.
I like their band, the fake Army band.
Yeah,
they're great.
You don't like them as much as Barry Trammell likes them. He loves the Texas A&M band.
I might be right there with Barry. I'm a big fan.
I have a couple buddies, though, that are A&M fans, and it'll be cool just to kind of relive that experience. I know that they had, matchups in the Big 12 and all that kind of stuff. But
it's a very drivable game, too, for OU fans.
Yeah, go down to Houston, stay there, and then head over to College Station. It's a cool college atmosphere. I think if you're a college football fan, you need to go to Kyle Field at least once just to go see the spectacle.
Well, and you have to have a basis to make fun of them, like the overalls, the
not walking on the grass.
Yes, all that.
Oh God, I
behavior.
forgot about the not walking on the grass stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Reveille's being buried outside the stadium. Yes, Did they have their own scoreboard?
I think I've been down there 3 times for a game.
God, I feel like I've been down there 10.
Down there for the Reggie McNeil game for sure.
Oh God,
same. I was there for that one. I've been
Alan Patrick's spin move. I think called back.
I mean, the most impressive one to me was when OU just lined up and just ran right at their ass, and I think that's the one you're talking about. And then Jason White had a great driving down there in one game to win it. But it's always like that's the one place when you're down on the field at the end of the game and they're in it. There are very few places like that on earth.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just like you feel like the
cool
field
place.
is moving.
It's a cool place, especially when they start rocking back and forth during.
I hate that because I'm in the press box and I feel like the whole thing's going to come crumbling down. But I haven't been there since the new press box.
It kind of sounds like Carrie's a little bit of a closet A&M fan.
You're praising it more than I am. What are you talking about?
I'm just kind of going along to help, but
I was going to say, Eddie, I would read it the other way around. Like I feel like you're very pro A&M. And that's
I was always a big
outcome. That's not how I would see it.
Win guy.
I think Josh and I are similarly fascinated with the dead dogs not being able to see through the stadium, yet they can see through the cement and everything to see the scoreboard that's put there for them.
They can see through dirt, but they can't see through a wall. I don't understand it. It never has made any sense to me. It's a weird memorial. Like I love dogs. I love dogs, but it's weird.
They didn't think that one through, like most stuff. Anyway, better not praise them anymore. So, yeah, I mean, but Florida, Kentucky, Florida, Georgia, that's certainly exciting, especially going down there for the first 2 games. So I like the schedule, the release. I can do without the big release party. Just show me the schedule. But, yeah, I think the one takeaway from everybody is like, wow, Ole Miss didn't see that coming.
That the first time that I even heard Ole Miss as a possibility being included in that was on
when Chris Lower
Sunday. No, the Sunday Blitz. Toby said it.
Oh,
I was
really?
like, did I hear that right? And he mentioned Ole Miss, so it's cool. I think ultimately I probably would have shrugged my shoulders at just about anybody. I'd been okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
I do want to give a quick shout out to Toby. Our Colts are 3-0, and that man is on cloud 9. So he is living a good life right now. I get messages on Sunday, very enthusiastic about where the Colts are, and their season right now.
Daniel Jones, the new Baker?
It's crazy. I refuse to believe it. I will not let Daniel Jones hurt me. I'm not going to do it, and so I am very, very tepid. But
I'll be honest.
Toby
I have NFL Sunday Ticket, but I haven't watched the Colts. Like, how good is he playing, Daniel Jones?
Unbelievable. He's like third in the league in QBR. Like, he's on fire. It's Kerry. I think they've punted once this year. Like, and their average score differential is, I think, maybe the highest in the league. They've won 2 games by almost 20 points.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the scores.
It's crazy what they're doing. No, I know. It's just like it's hard to explain it. Like, with the Giant, like, I think Brian Daboll was, obviously he's a guy that kind of got Josh Allen going in Buffalo. I think he's a really sharp guy, but could he have been this bad in New York? Like, I can't explain it.
Jonathan Taylor's also really good.
I've seen plenty of his highlights. Yeah, he's good.
He's a monster.
By the way, here's the thing about like the NFL too.
I think Wisconsin would take him back.
The NFL is so good. I have never been more down on my Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I mean, you should be.
I find reasons to tune into the NFL every Sunday regardless. Like I think most people, like with their college teams, like last year, I had so many friends that just quit watching college football because OU wasn't any good.
Yeah, I'm a junkie. I can't get to that point.
I can't either. But with the NFL, I used to just watch the Cowboys and that was it. But now, and it certainly has to do with Baker and Kyler and watching the Eagles and Lane Johnson and Jalen Hurts. But it's so good. Like that early window last weekend on Sunday was amazing.
Yeah, what was it? 5 blocked kicks in a matter of like 25 minutes. It was insane. I think that red zone's helped a lot for me, at least too. Just being able to sit down and I don't leave my couch
condense
on Sundays.
It, yeah.
It's amazing.
That's the only way I'd want to watch the NFL. Like I don't know. Like, there's something about college and just the wild shit could happen on any play that I just love about college. I don't feel like you get in the NFL. But like the red zone where I'm seeing like, something really active is happening. Like, I can get into that. Like, I can watch that. But other than the Colts, like, I've got a buddy who is, and he listens to the pod. He will absolutely know who I'm talking about. Is Baker obsessed? Like, borderline. Like, I think if Baker, was going the wrong way,
I think my security.
Buddy would make some kids. Yeah, it would be weird. But he loves Baker, and like every time he goes on a fourth quarter drive or the Bucks miss a kick, or like I get updates. Like it's in our little group chat. Like, they're screwing Baker again. Like, it's just always Baker being wronged and how Baker's going to have to save the day. But I'll be damned if he doesn't keep doing it this year right now. That dude's on fire.
I'm a big Bucks fan now.
I'm a huge Bucks fan.
I think everybody around the Sooner Scoop offices, we've become like kind of Bucks fanatics.
Yeah.
And
we watched the game together. We were like little kids.
We were
in
the Monday night game
at the TV.
They're really good too.
They are good.
Like, I think that
I'm afraid this week's going to be kind of rough.
The last 2 weeks would have been games that I think previous Buck teams would have found a way to lose.
Baker, I'm not trying to make your list. They
got the Eagles,
really
right?
Beat up.
And their offensive line's so beat up.
Yeah.
Mike Evans is hurt now.
They're not going to be able to hold up.
Shout out to Sterling though. He made the big play in the last.
It was
game.
Awesome.
Sterling's playing better and better. Like, this is like peak New York Giants Sterling right now.
Yeah, and Emeka, that was a great draft pick. He is awesome.
We are super fans.
He's going to be unbelievable.
And Bucky Irving's on my fantasy team.
I feel like Buddy the Elf right now. Like, I know him. Like Baker Santa.
Guys, it's crazy because I remember when OU was heavily in with Emeka. Like, I think OU basically finished runner-up for him when he picked Ohio State. And I remember, like, kind of always being shocked that he was such a clear number 2 to Marvin Harrison. And now Marvin Harrison's not really clicking right now.
Ooh, have you seen some of, like, the advanced stats on Marvin Harrison about separation from his defender and how low he is in the league? It's like he does not get open. And like it all happened because Kyler came out and said he was getting criticized for only targeting 3 times, and And Kyler was like, some games he's going to get 3 catches, some games he's going to get 10. And people were trying to come after Baylor, and then the advanced analytics guys were like, no, Kyler's actually right. Like, he's not getting open.
The Cardinals kind of remind me of like a, and I watch them, but
they're
enjoy it.
dysfunctional.
It just seems like they're like a, I don't know, the NBA equivalent of like a, I get the Magic maybe previously before this.
Phoenix Suns? How about the Phoenix Suns?
Charlotte Hornets maybe? Like,
oh, that's really
I kind
bad,
of sometimes forget about them. Like, even during the preseason, we were talking about this on radio that like I had not seen anything from Cardinals training camp until like the first week of the year. It's a big year for Kyler, though.
Kerry, I like the Suns one because like clearly they're talented. Like there's talent there. You feel like they should be better than they are, and they're never terrible. They're just kind of okay. Like and they're just
not a
the middle of the
threat.
pack.
Yeah, it's like they got a lot of good players. They're not a threat to us.
Like a real threat in the NFC West, I think would have beat the 49ers on Sunday, as banged up as they are.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk any recruiting before we get out of here?
Yeah, we should.
Okay.
We've been going for over an hour, and I was getting ready to go to that. But we're going to do a full recruiting report.
Yeah.
And that's going to come tomorrow. But you did have a nice list of visitors over the weekend, Josh. I was staying. I got to tell you, my new fascination is this tight end Seneca Driver. And he's so huge. I mean, he's massive. I don't even know who all is involved. I think he's a 2027 kid, right? Or is he 28?
He's 27.
Okay.
He's a 27 kid.
But he and Cooper Hackett together, it was like they could block out the sun together.
Yeah. You know, for those that don't know, he's listed at 6'7", 225, big kid from Kentucky. He's, basically regardless of where you look, top 5 tight end in the country that came in last weekend. I've talked to Seneca a little bit. It sounds like it went really well. Like we haven't really gotten into the nuts and bolts, but like just kind of general, he wants to talk about it. Like, and he, talked about getting to talk with the coaches, and I know he had some time with Jim Nagy. So
really skinny guy right now. I mean, not fully developed yet.
Oh, I mean, God, at 6'7" as a high school kid, I don't like. If you were filled out, I'd be like, you're going to be an offensive tackle, big boy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like that's just. You're just going to be huge. So I kind of like that he does look a little lean. But yeah, it really was. It was a good weekend. I thought, as good as the reviews were of Michigan, I had more than one guy that was at both tell me they enjoyed the Auburn visit more. And so I don't really know how they quantify that, what it was, but I mean, there were a lot of guys that really enjoyed this visit weekend. And I know one of the questions you guys always like to ask is a guy that I think OU kind of made a move with is a guy I love out of California, a kid named Quentin Hale. He's a wide receiver from Los Angeles Cathedral. He's actually the teammate of the quarterback that came in 2027, the Jaden Jefferson kid. And I think Quentin Hale, I think we've got him number 72 overall in the country. He might be considerably better than that. Like on tape, he is big and long. He's super explosive. And with Oklahoma already having one big-time wide receiver committed out of Southern California, who knows? Maybe you could get a little something going and, kind of maybe get those two talking about playing together at Oklahoma. But again, Quentin is usually very kind of brief in his comments and that kind of thing. Gushed is probably overstating it, but he definitely was more excited than I've seen him when he talked about Oklahoma in the past.
Josh, I want to say some names for the recruiting report, but I figure we probably need to hit on this here. Daniel McMorris, Norman North offensive tackle, obviously previously committed to Minnesota. He did pick up the offer from Oklahoma. There's a number of RPMs that have come in for guys that visited, whether it be Jacob Curry, even Caden Penny out of Bixby. Seems like there's some movement in 2027. But just real quick on Daniel McMorris, now that the offer has been made,
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, No big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan. $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Matter of when than maybe more so of if it happens?
It would take a pretty monumental upset at this point.
Yeah.
Talking to some people, my impression is that, because a few weeks ago it felt like it was Texas Tech and Oklahoma. I don't know. Like, there's a part of me kind of like some of the other situations we've seen with Texas Tech where I get the impression that Texas Tech kind of gave him a now or never kind of thing. And again, I don't know that for fact. That's just kind of how I'm reading some of the stuff I'm hearing. I don't know how involved Tech is right now. Like, I don't know how serious they are. And to me, that was, and I feel like, guys, we kind of talked about that. Like, that was the concern that I think OU had. Is like, we're going to go recruit this guy. We're going to bring him in. And then Texas Tech's going to come in and make some ungodly NIL offer. And then we've wasted our time and our energy and all that kind of stuff when we could have focused somewhere else. So I don't think that's going to be a problem anymore. And so you mentioned some predictions coming in. He's a guy I put a prediction in for yesterday. I think Oklahoma's in really good shape there. I don't know if everybody has seen the picture of him and Lane Johnson together. If you can find it, go find that picture. I think it's on Daniel's page on his X. And if you want to look at anything else, look at how broad his shoulders are standing next to an NFL great like Lane Johnson. Like, he is a couple years away from being a meaningful player, but when you talk about his frame and his size and his length, and then you can see it, like what it could be down the road. And again, I know that's a mouthful to compare. I'm just saying from a body type perspective and the knowing how well he moves, I think there's a lot of potential here. He's got to do the work, basically. I'm
trying to think of.
Do we want to hit on some of these guys with the RPM stuff? I know, like, the Caden Penny thing kind of took me by a little bit of surprise, just in that he is still a junior, 2027 guy. Where does Oklahoma stand with him, as well as even a Jackson Roper that an RPM's come in for him?
Yeah, Jackson, honestly, I would probably had more confidence in Jackson. I've actually thought about putting in that prediction myself a couple of times, between talking to him several times, talking to his dad back at summer camp. Like, they love Oklahoma. They love Bill Bedenbaugh. They like the whole energy of the program. There's just a lot there that I think fits them really well. I don't know that I think a decision is like imminent or anything like that, but I think it would take something pretty special at this point, or something really changing in his recruitment, for Oklahoma to not be the choice. Now, it's so far off. These things can happen. That's really the reason I haven't put a pick in. I hate to be the guy that goes back and later on down the road is like, oh, okay, I'm gonna change that up. So we'll have to watch that a little bit. With Caden Penny, he feels a little closer to the finish line for me, funny enough, even though I don't feel as confident about what he's going to do. I just get the impression Caden's a guy that doesn't love any of this. Like, if he knows what he wants to do, he can just get it done, be done with it. We know about all the connections that Bixby has to Oklahoma State, but now with Oklahoma State being the shape they're in, I think that changed the math. And really, the school I had heard for him other than OU was Ohio State. That's really the other one. But he's been down to Oklahoma frequently. I know, and I need to check back with Cooper whether he did it or not. Cooper Hackett didn't play last Friday. He actually was planning to go over to Bixby and watch Caden Penny play. So, like, they've developed a pretty good relationship, and I think that's a pretty interesting storyline that we may have to watch.
You kind of mentioned it, but just on the topic of Oklahoma State, Caden Jones, Jinx running back, did decommit from Oklahoma State following the Mike Gundy parting of ways. Will Oklahoma get involved with him, or maybe a Taj Overton? Any guys that will they revisit here over the next couple of weeks?
I really don't see it in either of these cases. I whether it's Taj Overton or Caden Jones, I think Oklahoma was cooling on Caden kind of before the decision went down. And with Taj Overton, I feel like Oklahoma kind of said, man, you could have done this, and now they feel pretty good about their defensive tackle room. Yeah. Obviously, Eddie, we just talked about it on Monday on the Game Day Rewind of the job that Todd Bates has done. Todd Bates doesn't have to go hunt. Like he's doing just fine and finding his own guys and focusing elsewhere. The guy, if I was going to say, Oklahoma could look at the class, and I kind of wonder about it. There's two guys that they really weren't that involved with. Aiden Martin at Berry Hill, who's a kid that I saw a couple weeks ago against Cooper Hackett. Could be like a guard type of guy. Like I think he could be interesting. And, with Oklahoma still trying to add some numbers to that offensive line room, I like him. He's a good athlete. He's a big physical kid. I could buy into that. And then the other is a kid from Arkansas named Danny Beal. He's a defensive tackle, in that same class with Taj Overton. He is a mountain. This is like a 0-1 tech nose guy all day, but he can move around a little bit. Frankly, I'm kind of surprised OU wasn't more involved the first time around. I bet he ends up at Missouri, but I just, if I'm OU, I would reach out and kind of be like, hey, would you have any interest? Take a visit, come see us, that kind of thing.
Obviously, you went and saw him last weekend, and then he came to campus, Braden Allen. I know you'll have much more in highlights from your trip on the recruiting report, but is this continuing to move forward positively for OU, or is this just something that we still have to wait and see?
I think Braden's still going to take a couple more visits. He's got Colorado, and I always forget his second one. I think he talked about Oklahoma State in the interview that we did, but I don't think that's not.
Plans might have changed since you talked to him on Friday.
Yeah. Like even at the time, you're like, I don't know if that's actually going to come together. But I like I said, I know he's going to go to Colorado, and I believe it's this weekend or next. And then I don't think you're going to have to wait. Like it's not going to be deep into October to know where things are with Braden Allen. What's interesting to me, guys, and Scoop will have more on this on Friday, they're starting to have some number decisions to make, because with the way things are trending at Florida, and we've talked a lot about how that class could impact what OU does, because there's several guys in that class that I know OU would like to, get in their own class, and that I think they have a good chance to do that with. I'm wondering if they're having to tap the brakes on a couple guys. And I'm not saying Braden Allen's one of them. I'm just saying I think like a guy like Davian Gross, we know what a priority he was. I think Oklahoma can absolutely get back in that race. I think if Napier gets fired, which I think we all know is coming. I said this last night, and I'll say it here. Davian Gross is currently committed to Florida. I think it's more likely, even as we sit here right now, that he ends up in Oklahoma's class than he ends up in Florida's. That's kind of how I see that.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean the Florida thing, and really everywhere. And I really wonder how this is looked at and what NIL contracts look like. Obviously, the portal opens up 30 days after you lose your coach, but for recruiting, I wonder how many of those contracts say we have the right to rescind this offer if a coaching change is made, just to protect themselves. Because what coach is going to want to come in and say, okay, you're already saddled with this recruiting class?
100%. I mean, especially with that in mind of, these guys, because it's not even that, too. It's also like, what have you lost from your roster? Okay, cool. I'm saddled with 5 incoming receivers, and I just lost 10, and I don't like half my receiving class. It's not even really going to fix my problem. So I think that's a very it's a very good point. And you would think Florida had prepared for that, but with what we've seen of Florida's NIL management so far in the first 5 or 6 years, I'm not sure I would count on anything.
Well, they did use the athlete group, so they probably have. I would say that's an advantage for Florida. They probably have some personnel people that will have evaluated those people regardless of who the head coach is. So Florida might not be a great example of guys that you can go in and poach, but certainly with the players, it's going to be about the relationship with the coaches more so than the personnel. But I'd say that, but then every time I see a kid on campus, Jim Nagy is right there building that relationship with him.
I will say, and guys, that's something that I don't know that we've talked about a lot. when I talk to these kids, I know there's this idea of like, oh, it's the coaches and the relationship, and then the personnel guys come in and, they tie off the little ends and they dot the I's and that kind of stuff. That's not the case. When I talk to these guys, they're having real conversations with Jim Nagy, with Taylor Redd, with Stacey Ford. Like, you go to Cale Pearson, you name the group or the guy, and they are having very real, sincere conversations with these guys, and they are part of that recruiting process. There's absolutely no question about it.
Yeah, I can tell you this. I mean, I was standing there right behind Cooper Hackett, and I can't remember. I think he was with Alexander, the Alexander kid from Washington, and somebody else. But Jim Nagy walks right up to him and a couple of other people, and they just wisp him off to somewhere else, where they could talk more privately or whatever. So I don't know if it was under the stadium or they probably went into the facility. But yeah, those guys before the game, the personnel department, they're working those guys as hard as it, because they can do that and the coaches can't. That's when their time to really build that relationship, can take center stage.
That's a great point, Kerry. It's really well done, because the coaches, and you guys know, you've watched it for years. They call so and so out, and he gets to go talk to Brent for basically shake hands, say hello, hey, we're so glad you're here.
The
that
office
kind of
visit, the pictures, and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. As to where Nagy, before the game, Nagy doesn't have anything. He doesn't have where he has to be, or making sure the clocks are running on time. That's Brent's responsibility. So he can really sit down and talk with these guys while they're just captive audience. Like, they're just there at the pregame and they're watching warm-ups. Hey, come talk to me for 10 minutes in the office about what we see for you and what we think is going to be your future here at Oklahoma. That's you kind of get to it's almost like a 1-2 punch between Venables and Nagy and both of their staffs.
Hey, it's Paris. I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
A little bit different from the days we were told, don't take a picture of this person if he's on campus. or we'll pull your credential. No, that's an old story. I don't even know what the rule is on that anymore, but it used to be that we couldn't even take a recruit's picture when he was down on the field, or in the stands, or even in the stadium. So anyway, Josh, anything else? I mean, the recruiting report, going to have a full update on the weekend recruiting visitors, your recent trips as well. So look forward to that on our YouTube channel. Guys, I know we're running into some time here, but anything else you wanted to hit on before we get out of here?
Some great football games this weekend. I don't know if you guys have anybody you like in some of these big games, but I'm excited to kind of relax and get to watch all the games this weekend.
I was shocked to come back Saturday night over to the office after the game to see Illinois just absolutely getting their ass kicked by Indiana. Very interested to see what USC and Illinois do at 11 a.m. on Saturday. And then Saturday afternoon, just from a college football standpoint, fantastic. Got games kind of at each little block, whether it be 2:30, 3:15, leading
even
into the
11
two big
a.m.
night
slate, USC, Illinois, like you said. I'll watch Notre Dame, Arkansas.
Notre Dame, they're basically playing for their lives every weekend from here on out.
Yeah.
And Sam Pittman might be coaching for his job.
You know what? One game, again, there's the big ones this week: Oregon, Penn State, Alabama, Georgia. Those are going to be awesome. I'm very interested in the Tennessee Mississippi State game. Mississippi State, I don't think they're going to win that game, but they're playing some good football right now, and I think they can score. So
our buddy, the great Django, going down to Starkville this weekend. He was told that it's the biggest game in Starkville since 2014. So good for Jeff Levy.
They've already rushed the field once this year.
Might do it again.
I think it is.
I don't think they will, by the way. I think Tennessee.
I think we're headed toward, in the SEC, kind of a bunch of separation Saturdays, because we all think that Tennessee looked really good against Georgia, but we don't know how good Georgia really. I mean, I think Stockton is a really good quarterback, I'm not sure. I mean, they look better. I mean, they got Branch at receiver. Some of the other guys seem like they come along. I don't know how good their running game is. Like, I don't think anybody really knows if Georgia is still the cream of the crop in the SEC.
I think they are, and I think they're going to beat Alabama by 2 scores this weekend. I'm not a believer in Alabama.
Oh my!
I'm sure he said as much on his podcast, but Andy Stapleton and I were talking about Alabama before I went over to the stadium on Saturday, and like I completely bought in on this idea. Like, okay, maybe we had a funeral for Kalen DeBoer too soon, and he kind of talked me back into thinking that it's over. So we'll see. I'm genuinely don't know what to expect.
They've
from Alabama
obviously
on
played
Saturday
a lot
night.
better. They have played no one.
Yeah,
like
sure.
the Wisconsin game. Like I get they beat Wisconsin. Wisconsin's terrible.
Wisconsin is awful.
No, well, and they were playing their backup quarterback too.
I just think there's a chance Georgia not maybe blows them out, but wins kind of handily, and it's in Athens.
And it's revenge,
Guys, the
right?
one
Didn't
that
Alabama
shocks
win last
me-
year?
Yes.
Ole Miss minus 1.5 against LSU.
Really, I didn't realize they were favored.
I
And
didn't
they're-
either. I'm just sitting here looking on a BetMGM. That's crazy.
Now is that
Oxford.
It's in Oxford. Okay.
I believe so. Because Kiffin was bitching and complaining about how they never play big home night games, which I thought was very
Didn't they
relatable.
just play Georgia? Was it last year at home? In a huge night game?
No, because I
Or was that
remember
2
watching.
years ago?
That was a couple years ago because I remember watching the that Georgia game, Ole Miss with Jackson Dart. That we were watching that in the press box at Missouri before the start of that game, if I remember correctly. And that
I
was
just
a
remember
night
them
game.
beating Georgia at home, and it was like raining, pouring rain, and they beat Georgia, and it was at night.
Oh no, that was last year.
Yeah. And they
I
stormed
think
the field.
Well, I think the game just got over under darkness. I think that started at 2:30, something like that.
Oh.
Here's my question for
Because
you
I
guys.
watched that in the press box up in Columbia.
Here's my question for you guys. Are we sleeping on Vanderbilt a little bit? Are they maybe a real challenger?
I think it's
to win the league?
Yes.
No.
No,
They're not going to win the
Vanderbilt's
league.
not winning the league.
Josh was shaking his head yes.
There's a path. I thought, like, if you're talking about getting to the SEC title game, I think there's a path because their schedule is just not as
Yeah.
scary as some of the others.
I don't think they're winning the
But
league.
winning it,
Man, that would be
that's
crazy.
probably a stretch.
I just think they're a much better team than we're giving them credit for.
Clark Lee's done
and
an
I probably phrased that
unbelievable
wrong,
job.
but I mean they got a veteran quarterback. I mean,
Yeah. Look, I think they're
he's
a top
got some.
20
I think Diego Pavia has a little Baker in him. Like he just does some shit out there that you're just like, wow, that dude's really football savvy.
I think that, and they run the ball well. That's one thing that they do. But I think they're a top 25 team. I don't think they're as good as Georgia, Oklahoma, Tennessee. Like they play Tennessee, don't they?
I think it's safe to say let's check back around November 8th. They play Utah State this weekend.
Beat the shit out of South Carolina, though. I mean,
South Carolina's not very good. South Carolina might be one of the worst teams in the league
Lenore
right now.
Sellers out of the game, but they physically dominated them.
Oh, I'm not saying you're crazy.
To the point that the South Carolina player punched Diego Pavia. He was so frustrated.
Once they jump into conference play on October 4th or back into conference play, they go at Tuscaloosa, LSU in Nashville, Missouri in Nashville, at Austin, and then Auburn.
Do you think that? Okay, you were talking about
I think they're gonna
Alabama.
lose like 3 of
do you
those
think?
games.
Do you think they beat Alabama again?
No.
Vanderbilt
in Tuscaloosa? Probably not.
I still think Alabama's good, but I don't think they're great.
Guys, I like George. You're talking about. I think they'll beat Vanderbilt when LSU. Or excuse me, I think they'll beat LSU when Vanderbilt. I think LSU's the biggest fraud in the league.
They very well could be, Josh. They very well could be. I think we're going to find out this weekend that they're fraudulent, and that's probably why that line's 1.5. But especially with what's happening at Clemson, which is just another disaster. That win that they got week 1 all of a sudden doesn't look that impressive.
It's amazing to me seeing some of these coaches that didn't find ways to adapt over the last 3-4 years all of a sudden are looking up, and Mike Gundy doesn't have a job anymore. Dabo, if that thing will head into a train wreck at some point, if it's not already. It kind of seems like it is.
They won't fire him, will they?
Not this year, I wouldn't think. But Dabo kind of seems like the type of guy, too, that would just say,
I'm out of here.
If there's a better job out there, I don't know. Like, if there was an Ole Miss or something, whatever, I don't know.
You know what I think is going to be telling is when Missouri plays Auburn. That happens October 18th. Because I want to know, I think Missouri is an improved team, but it's not that Prebula is the reason that they're better. They run the shit out of the football. And when they
been
take
pretty
on,
good, though.
He has been, but it's a lot of
Their defense
stuff
is
that's
good.
set up by the run game, and their defense is good. It's going to be really interesting when they face another team that can stop the run, like Auburn can, because that'll tell us a lot about how Oklahoma will fare against Missouri.
Josh was talking about, a team that we thought was going to be really good and we're kind of down on now. I think Missouri's kind of like, if South Carolina's that first responsibility, Missouri's on the opposite end of, I didn't really know what they were going to be this year, and I think they're a little bit better than I thought they were.
They definitely are better than I think anybody thought that they were going to be. It's just
they also haven't played anybody, and they were getting beat. They were losing to Kansas in the fourth quarter, right?
Well, it's hard because Drinkwitz is just so fucking unlikable.
Yeah, I agree.
And you want to hate them and discount them.
I think there's a world where Penn State looks back and be like, should we let Bo Prebula go? Are we sure?
Aller doesn't play well this weekend. That definitely will be out there.
Has he been playing bad?
Guys, I love Oregon in that game. I love Oregon there. I think I don't know. I don't trust James Franklin at all.
But is Drew Aller is he playing bad? Have they?
No,
who have they
Penn State
played?
hasn't played anybody.
I was about to say.
I think it's more so just looking at what Prebula's done in the limited times that we've seen him.
Didn't you and I have a back and forth on here earlier this year, Eddie, where I was like, I don't think Drew Aller's that good, and you're like, well, he took him to the semis.
Maybe. I don't believe that, but I might have argued with you at that point.
I don't know. Is that game?
I had to look at something.
I'm a sucker for Penn State, night game, whiteout. Should be awesome.
Guys,
it's going to be a little too warm, though.
The last time Drew Aller threw for 250 yards was last October.
Wow.
And again, I realize Penn State blew the doors off some teams, but they also played in the damn playoffs. They played. He threw for 226, and and 3 touchdowns and 2 picks against against Oregon in the Big Ten title game. He's talented, and I see what people like about him, but he's very Cade Klubnik to me. I don't trust him against quality competition.
Do we trust Dante Moore much? I mean, I don't know anything about him.
I do.
He looked really good, but you're right. He hadn't played anybody.
I do, just to an extent of I feel like they're okay at quarterback. Oregon is so talented around him that I almost don't really worry about it too much.
How many teams besides OU have decent wins against good teams?
We were talking about this earlier.
Miami does, yeah.
There's not a whole lot of teams with
there's only
unquote,
two.
Top 25.
There's only 3
top 25 wins.
Yeah, there's only 3 teams.
What's
in the
best team Ohio State's played besides Texas?
Ohio?
Ooh, yeah, might be. I'll be perfectly honest. That's the first team I thought of. I'm not even sure I know their full schedule, but I know they played Ohio, and Ohio played them semi-tough for a few quarters.
Even know who? I mean, we'll see what Ohio State does this weekend. They do have to make a trip out to Seattle. So, and I have no idea what to think of Washington. That's what, this weekend is kind of the beginning. Once everybody's starting to get into conference play, non-conference stuff is winding down, that you obviously kind of start centering in on some of these teams. The other team that Ohio State had played, Grambling State, they've only played 3 games. Yeah. They were off last week.
You know who actually fits that?
Their head coach basically said, we know what we're here to do, and it's just basically getting our heads kicked in.
Mm-hmm. You know who might fit that bill? Is Iowa State. Although that depends on you thinking Kansas State's decent.
Or Iowa's decent.
Yeah. But, I mean, they're not pushovers.
No.
Iowa ended up beating Rutgers last week, didn't they? I knew that was tight, and I can't.
Yeah, they pulled away.
I think Iowa finished that.
I think they ended up winning by a touchdown, maybe. Okay. Yeah, the team that was the most impressive coming out of this past weekend, Texas Tech going up and just kind of kicking the shit out of Utah, was a little bit surprising to me.
The fighting Joey Maguires, man.
They're actually good. Yeah.
I think Texas Tech's going to win the Big 12, but who do you think the other team, TCU maybe, is the other team in the Big 12?
Arizona State's still not out of it.
TCU or Arizona State, probably. I think before last weekend, I would have told you that I still had a little bit of a belief in Baylor. And I don't know. the way they lost that game after coming back and tying it up at the fourth quarter, just
Baylor
kind of
and
disgusting.
Oklahoma State. Oh my God, that could get bad.
I think that Oklahoma State will fight for a little bit, but it kind of ultimately goes back to the idea that I just don't think like firing Mike Gundy, I don't think is going to help this overall product right now. Like,
are they going to win another game?
God.
I mean, their head coach is
1-11
technically is their strength and conditioning coach.
That's a wild choice.
It's just bad. I truly don't understand how it got so bad. Like, I think like a lot of Oklahoma fans that I've talked to, like, you would normally think would have taken pride in like this Oklahoma State is just dog shit right now. And I think it's gotten so bad that a lot of people, while they still enjoy it, it's just kind of like,
I think they would enjoy it a lot more if OSU was on the schedule. I think they'd be like,
yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Can't wait for that.
Truth.
I did get a message after the firing last night that T-Bag wants to come work for us. He's ready to. He's not jumping ship, but the sad thing was that Tyler actually got fired up with Gundy's press conference. Like Gundy and some OSU fans are like, okay, we're going to be behind this guy. We're going to stick with him. He's done so much for us. And then boom, he just gets fired the very next morning.
Something happened there because it makes no sense why they waited. They had
it's just terrible leadership, George.
I know, it's awful. It's terrible leadership, but it's
having a lame duck athletic director.
What a shitty way to like. I mean, he's
still gonna have a statue up there. He's gonna probably have.
He is, Eddie. But like that doesn't mean that you still treat him like shit.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, okay, I was like,
it's completely fucked up what they did.
Yeah,
and maybe not so much that they fired him mid-season, because I think after the game on Friday night, you went, it's over. Like everybody knew it was over. But to make him, or not make him, but allow him to go talk to the media, coach in practice.
And they played on a Friday night.
That's what I'm saying. Is like they had Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to get this done.
No, I agree with you 100. I think he got kind of done dirty a little bit by his own people. When
do you guys think that was a money thing? Like, we got to make sure we've got the money to do this.
No, I think this goes back to last year when the Board of Regents felt embarrassed when he went after the fans for living in their mom's basement.
I think Haston wrote it maybe this morning from yesterday. Just basically like, this is what happens. It's kind of paraphrasing, but this is what happens when you have monster egos and it's all a part of it.
Yeah. And it's a bunch of people that don't they don't literally have a president that can make decisions like this. So I think the part of the board that was upset with him kept trying to win out, and they finally got their way, and they got rid of him. And that goes, part of that goes back to the Mike Holder era where Mike Gundy just couldn't get along with anybody in authority.
And then they told Chad Weidberg, you go up there and you take the bullets.
Oh, I mean, he just seemed shell-shocked in that interview.
It's the right decision. It is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it just could have been handled so much better.
And if your best option is to make your offensive coordinator that has been here for 5 minutes and your strength coach as the co-coaches, you should have just left Mike Gundy there to die on the vine. Because that's a horrible disservice to the kids on that team.
Do you think they were afraid, like, what if he starts having success and then we can't get rid of him?
Yeah, that could be part of it.
We want him, we've got to go.
Don't let him turn this thing. Don't let Mike Gundy get hot.
Yeah. Although it was never, they're terrible. It wasn't going to happen. But I've got to think that played into it. Like, we've got him now. We've got to go.
I mean, look at Washington State right now. They're a dumpster fire. And that's...
Yeah, but even their coach is like, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
That was a pretty good press conference that he had after the Apple Cup. Basically like, hey, we're trying our best. We don't have any money.
I took the cover. I took the Washington cover.
How many did they end up winning by? Is
34
Washington good?
Or something like that?
That quarterback's legit, Eddie. He's fun.
Okay.
He's fun to watch.
So you're telling me to maybe money line him? Upset Ohio State this weekend?
No, shit, no.
Okay.
I think Ohio State will beat the doors on because they can't play.
Yeah,
that line's only 8.5.
Yeah.
By the way,
that's another one I like. Ohio State.
Jed Fish is another name out there that will get some run at the end of the season. I think
to move on from Washington.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like Washington's another one of those schools, kind of like SMU, where you're kind of legitimized now by being in the Big Ten. Does that change things for anybody? I don't know.
I mean, it's just so
He's
hard.
got a lot of Florida ties. That's
really?
The school that he's been. Yeah.
That's where he met his wife,
that's right?
Yeah.
You told that story about Bob.
Yeah, meeting his wife.
Forgot
And
about
Bob
that.
introduced them or something.
Well, that kind of changes everything. Yeah. I mean,
I take him over Lane.
I was about to say,
Division's
yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
I think Andy Staples might fight both of you now.
Who does he want?
He wants Lane, I think.
Does he?
Yeah.
Well,
it's a great story.
It'd be
it'd
incredible.
be fun as hell.
I don't know. I mean, he's a smart guy. If he thought Jed Fish was a real possibility, I think he'd probably want Jed Fish. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I might text him after this and ask him. All right. I think that's going to do it. That's a good over an hour and a half of U40 for you.
Pray for John Mateer.
Pray for John Mateer. Everybody have a good
You having
week.
a vigil? Eddie?
No, probably not.
You like a good vigil?
Yeah.
Eddie's having a surgery.
Yeah, I was going to have a surgery. I'm just going to have the thumb surgery and just go through it with him. We'll put it all on YouTube. By
just
the way,
report the healing. Like, okay, I can move it like this today.
Exactly.
So John Mateer should be able to do this.
I just hope I don't get stoned to death. Hey, you, Jeff.
Okay. That's going to do it for this edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast.
Such a nobody. It is fun, though.
It's a haunting.
I had two really good videos. Those are great videos, weren't they?
They were very good. You did a good job. What is the Conjuring on? You could be the next Conjuring.
I don't know what that is.
They 8.
The movie?
I've heard of it.
They're very popular horror movies, although apparently they made enough of them like 3 ago because the reviews were terrible on the latest one. Anyway, that's going to do it. We'll be back again next week when the Sooners are getting ready to play Kent State behind Michael Hawkins Jr. Thoughts and prayers out to the thumb of John Mateer, as Eddie said. And we'll see you guys back here next week for another edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast from Soonerscoop.com.